When the media noise finally faded, there was only silence. And in that silence, at last, came a clearer echo of what truly unfolded in the final moments of Heche's life. The truth rarely arrives with drama. It slips in quietly, long after the shouting stops, when there's no one left to blame and no one left to defend. And was born in May of 1969 in a small town in Ohio, into a family that, from the outside, looked like the picture of Christian virtue. To the neighbors, they were simply a decent, God-fearing household. But to N, home was a locked door, behind which lived a monster. Not a metaphorical one, but a very real man. Her father, Donald Joe Heche, was a man of failed schemes and restless ambitions, constantly chasing a dream of quick riches. Wherever the family moved, and they moved often, the shadows of the past always followed, heavy and inescapable, and grew up learning to read the room before she ever understood what it meant. She learned to track her father's moods, decode her mother's voice, and sense the right moments to vanish into silence. In adulthood, she would reflect, "We were living in a bedroom in someone's church house. We had been evicted. I was working as a waitress at a dinner theater. I dreamed of being on stage, not serving plates." When she was 13, her world collapsed. Her father died, not from an accident, nor from a fightable disease, but from complications related to AIDS, and knew exactly where that diagnosis came from. She knew far too much. Years later, in a raw interview with Larry King, she would reveal what the public never imagined. Her father was a closeted homosexual. Not just closeted, but recklessly so. He was a very promiscuous man, she said then, holding back the storm inside her. "We knew about his lifestyle. We just knew. But fate has no brakes once it starts crashing." 3 years later, death came again, this time for her brother. He was only 18 when he died in a violent car crash. Was it a warning? A glimpse into how his own journey might end? Back then, she didn't ask. She only wanted to escape. And then, a door opened. A talent scout spotted her during a school play. A flick of fate's wand, and suddenly, and had a shot at a new life. She auditioned for As the World Turns, and to her own surprise, landed the role with ease. Felt like the suffering might finally be behind her. But just as she stepped forward, the door slammed shut again. Her mother refused to let her go. "You're too young for television," she warned, then added that show business was a world of sinners. So and stayed behind, finishing school, enduring another year in a cramped apartment with a mother clinging to religion like a lifeline against her own truths. Years later, Anne would say simply, "I did my time with my mother. I was ready." At 18, she called her agent. "Send the ticket. I'm flying out." And she did, away from her past, toward a world where she could be someone else. Or maybe, for the first time, truly herself. Hollywood welcomed her with open arms. In the soap Another World, and portrayed twin sisters, mirror images of each other, reflecting her own fractured identity. The person she was, and the person she longed to be. The role earned her an Emmy nomination. Soon came her first major film, Donnie Brasco in 1997, opposite Johnny Depp. Critics praised her, and some whispered that it wasn't the A-list star who stole the spotlight. It was Anne. "If I could change anything," the screenwriter later said, "I would have written more and into the film." But fame is no remedy for pain. It's just a brighter light, one that makes the scars under your skin impossible to hide. In her candid memoir, Call Me Crazy, published in 2001, and Heche invites readers behind the shimmering curtain of fame and into a reality far stranger than any Hollywood script. It's a world where celebrity intersects with voices from another dimension, where love becomes an act of defiance against public scorn. At the height of her rising career, during the filming of Donnie Brasco, Anne began to hear a voice. She believed, without doubt, that it was the voice of God. But this wasn't just divine encouragement. The voice told her she was more than an actress, more than human. She was a celestial being. Her alter ego, Celestia, claimed to be both a manifestation of God and a reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Her mission, as dictated by the voice, was nothing less than to enlighten humanity. this revelation didn't immediately derail her momentum. In 1998, Heche landed what should have been a breakthrough role, starring opposite Harrison Ford in 6 Days, 7 Nights. It was poised to be her moment of triumph. But just before filming began, the studio, Touchstone Pictures, abruptly dropped her. Not because of her mystical beliefs or voices from above. The reason was more brutal and grounded, and had dared to walk the red carpet hand in hand with television host Ellen DeGeneres. For the gatekeepers of early 2000s Hollywood, that was too much. Her open same-sex relationship branded Heche as unmarketable. Ford was livid. He had personally chosen and over household names like Meg Ryan and Julia Roberts. He demanded her return to the project, and the studio complied. But the damage was done. Hollywood had taken a step back. Her name quietly slipped onto the industry's informal blacklist as one half of the first openly gay celebrity couple to command global headlines, the so-called gay superstars. Still, Heche kept working. That same year, she starred in Return to Paradise and Psycho alongside Vince Vaughn. Whispers began to swirl, not just about their performances, but about a spark off-screen. Though Anne was still in a public relationship with Ellen, the talk on set told a different story. Between Thailand and Maui, between scenes and studio trailers, Heche and Vaughn were said to be inseparable, bonded like industrial glue. In New York, they no longer hid their closeness, holding hands, embracing, stepping out together in plain view. One source claimed that after a steamy dance at the Red Eye Grill, the two left the restaurant wrapped around each other like ribbon on a parcel. Some suggested the romance was a performance itself, a cover to deflect attention from her real relationship with DeGeneres. Years later, Heche would reflect on that time with disbelief. People told me I wasn't getting roles because I was gay. How can that possibly destroy a career? I still don't understand. In an interview with Los Angeles magazine, Anne admitted she may not have known who she truly was. I'm something else entirely, she said. Even I can't define it. Maybe she didn't know what she was, but the world knew who she was. A woman who walked a razor's edge between the spotlight and her shadowed truth. Elusive, conflicted, and fiercely original. A person who dared to be herself in a world that punishes those who defy the script. And Heche's life was a whirlwind of extremes. Fame and disgrace, love and betrayal, a desperate search for truth, and silent screams buried so deep no one heard them, until she chose to speak them aloud. When Anne began filming a documentary about the stand-up tour of her then-partner Ellen DeGeneres, she had no idea how much her own life was about to change. Behind the camera was cinematographer Coleman Laffoon. At first, it was just work, capturing the lights and shadows of a comedy show. But somewhere between takes, something shifted. A quiet connection formed between them, one that changed everything. Slowly, Anne realized her love for Ellen was fading, and along with it, the person she thought she was began to disappear.